Part 84. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 833. Although there is no punishment mechanism, if you don't cross the finish line with your own weapons in the end, you will still be ridiculed by others to some extent. Not only for other reasons, but also to prevent others from laughing at you, you must defend your weapons to the death. As time goes by, Lu Feng gradually loses sight of those people who ran out very excitedly just now. It seems that this group of people is really excited, and they all look like hungry wolves. I'm afraid not everyone can be willing to be the one who has no way to eat. From the very beginning, Wu Liang had his eyes fixed on Cheng Lian. It seemed as if the two were born to be rivals. Even in a competition like this that required the cooperation of a large number of people, it was very likely that the two of them would run into each other directly, or even just fight each other. Because if you do it directly, you won't make any sense at all. Seeing that the two of them have always been mortal enemies, why doesn't Lu Feng feel helpless? I just hope that the two of them can master the speed and not give up more important things just for the sake of confrontation. This time Lu Feng can be said to be suffering from his conscience. I hope they can feel it. During this mountain cross-country competition, Lu Feng did not go directly to the scene to join them in the confrontation in the mountains. Instead, he sent Guan Yu and Huang Zhong to control the field to avoid unnecessary conflicts. To the point of forming any unavoidable conflict. As long as the two of them are there, Lu Feng will feel relieved. When Guan Yu and Huang Zhong disappeared from sight along with the large army, Lu Feng stood up from his seat, found a fast horse alone, and rushed directly to the middle of the game to wait for everyone to appear. The waiting is always long and very painful because you don't know how long it will take for the person you are waiting for to appear here. However, since we have already said before, if this game cannot be completed within the remaining time today, everyone will not be able to have dinner, so I guess everyone will not delay too long and will do it as soon as possible. Complete this race. But in order to prevent something unexpected from happening and the game dragging on for a long time, Lu Feng prepared some dry food before setting off. It doesn't matter whether others eat or not, but Lu Feng himself cannot go hungry. On the other side, after everyone had rushed out, Guan Yu and Huang Zhong followed them to check the situation. However, in order to restore the most realistic mountain cross-country race as much as possible, the two of them did not directly put their figures were exposed, but they were trying their best to observe everyone while not letting everyone know of their existence. It can be said that he has good intentions. Lu Feng made such arrangements just to enable people who have never been on the battlefield to get started as soon as possible. Among the mountains and forests, the appearance of the primeval forest is always full of mystery, which makes people yearn for it and feel a little scared at the same time. After Wu Liang and Cheng Lian led their respective troops into the dense forest, they were able to hide their members in order not to be easily discovered by their opponents. In order to win this game, both sides took different measures. Tactics. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 834. Wu Liang decided to go out with all his troops to find the descendants of the rich children hiding in the forest, and just snatch the weapons from their hands. Maybe in their view, these rich children have no fighting ability at all. People like them who often do farm work must be much better than the other party. It's just that the idea is good, but it is difficult to implement. This forest is so big that it is almost impossible to find those people in this place. If the other party is hiding deliberately, it is almost impossible to find him directly without using any special means. But for people like them who have never had military training, it is even more impossible to use special means. At this point, Cheng Lian has a very clear understanding, probably because he has read books and has been exposed to some art of war. Have you never eaten pork or seen a pig running? There was just no opportunity before, but now that he finally had the opportunity to show what he had read in the book before, And to have the opportunity to practice in practice, Chen Lian was extremely excited. After entering this dense forest, he analyzed the surrounding terrain and hid his people while moving forward, so as to ensure that at least he would not be discovered by the opponent and his weapons would not be snatched away. Chen Lian, you know clearly that if the two sides really had a direct face-to-face conflict in this forest, your own people might not be able to defeat the other side. Not to mention the use of some military tactics, it was just a very ordinary fight between the masses. The rich kids couldn't beat those who often did farm work. So there is only one way to win, and that is to outwit. When observing the terrain before, Chen Lian discovered that this mountain is actually quite unique. If you want to climb over this mountain, there are basically 4 ways you can take it. Therefore, there is no way to accurately judge which path the opponent will take, and there is no way to ambush on the road. But about 5 miles before passing the end point, there will be a gathering place there. In other words, that place is equivalent to the only way to reach the end point, so if you want to set up an ambush on the road in advance and wait for the opponent, you will feel that location is actually the best choice. As for the rest, there really isn't a Euro trademarked a good location. Although there is no guarantee that ambushing the opponent will lead to 100% victory, it is better than no other method. As long as you are willing to try, there is still a possibility of victory. Now that you have decided what to do next, start taking action immediately. It's just that you still need to spend a lot of time traveling before reaching your destination. Everyone has already consumed a lot of energy when carrying wood before, so in order to get everyone to the destination as quickly as possible, it is still necessary to choose the person with the strongest physical strength to open the way and lead everyone forward quickly. The battle now is all about speed. If anyone can reach the gathering place in advance, they will be halfway to victory. But not only do you have to arrive early, you also have to arrive a certain amount of time in advance, otherwise there will be no time to arrange the scene, and it will be meaningless. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 835. Even if there is no obstruction, it is not that easy to quickly pass through this forest and climb over this mountain. In addition, there was already a certain amount of physical exertion, so neither Wu Liang nor Chen Lian's team was actually as fast as originally expected. Guan Yu and Huang Zhong happened to be following each other, so if anything unexpected happened, they could report it as soon as possible. Wu Liang's team did not expect to meet at the last place in advance. For them, they cannot be a little aggressive, but they are still full of enthusiasm. You must find Chen Lian and others as soon as possible, subdue them quickly, and kill them. All the resources in hand were snatched away. In this deep mountain and dense forest, how easy is it to find someone who can be hidden? As time went by, the sun began to set gradually, and it had been several hours since everyone set out for the dense forest. However, Lu Fen never saw anyone at the finish line. Just when he felt a little bored, he suddenly heard bursts of noise coming from the front. It seemed like there was a fight. A little further away from the original position, I saw a conflict between the 2 waves of people led by Wu Liang and Chen Lian. Time went back to an hour ago. Because Chen Lian had a clear goal, he quickly led the people in the team to the intersection of the only way. After arriving here, I prepared an ambush here in advance and set up many traps. There are several pits dug in the ground. Although these pits are not very deep, people can fall down if they are not aware of them. On the other side, ropes are tied at both ends of the road, and a long thin rope stays in the middle. When someone passes here, an alarm will be issued in advance. After preparing all these tasks, Wu Liang quickly came here with the people in the team. At first, they wanted to find Chen Lian directly in the dense forest, but found that it was not that easy. And after searching for a long time without any results, the people in the team began to gradually lose their patience. To prevent everyone from getting angry gradually, if there is no other way, they can only head towards the destination first. Anyway, as long as you keep moving forward, you will always encounter someone, unless the other party doesn't go to the end. All the roads to the east converged at one point. Not long after the end, they suddenly fell into the enemy's trap, and the struggle between the two sides began. However, due to time constraints, the cash produced was not very good, so Wu Liang and others adjusted it as soon as possible, and the two sides began to compete for each other's resources. Although the numbers of both sides are not equal, Lu Feng said that the key to victory or defeat in the end is whether the resources in the hands of both sides have been reduced. This means that if you want to win with the number of people on a single product without robbing the opponent's resources, it is almost impossible. The purpose of this provision is to enable both sides to show conflict, otherwise the game will be meaningless. Lu Feng saw the two sides fighting fiercely, and also noticed the positions of Guan Yu and Huang Zhong, but the three of them all stood still and did not help. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 836. During the fight, Wu Liang and Chen Lian looked at each other again, and they struggled with each other. Since a conflict has already occurred, it is actually normal for someone to be injured. Maybe it was because the conflict between the two parties was too obvious, so they didn't leave any room for the other party during the fight. And everyone has weapons in their hands, so unnecessary deaths are likely to occur. Lu Feng's original intention was not to lose any soldiers, so he, Guan Yu and Huang Zhong kept an eye on everyone present. Each person was responsible for an area, just for fear of manslaughter. Fortunately, it was already said before the game started that if someone died, there would be no winner and he would be punished, so this was maintained well during the fight between the two sides. Maybe he was plotted before and fell into the opponent's trick, so Wu Liang looked very atmospheric at this moment. When they saw Chen Lian, the two of them were very motivated. They rushed towards each other and pushed him to the ground. They were about to stab him with the spear in their hands, but suddenly they thought of what Lu Feng said before, and stopped now. From the perspective of others, one can clearly see that the spear is about to pierce Chen Lian's chest with only a millimeter difference. Chen Lian, you never thought that you would lose like this. After all, you have succeeded in being lonely before, but your own physical fitness is not that strong, so you can only be counterattacked in the end. Such a scene happened, which made Chen Lian feel extremely ashamed. But now he was pinned underground and couldn't move at all, so he had no ability to resist and could only let Wu Liang handle it. Wu Liang and Chen Lian are the leaders of both camps, so when the winner has been decided between the two of them, the others will not continue to fight. Everyone stopped and looked towards Wu Liang and Chen Lian. Lu Feng appeared in front of everyone at this time and said to everyone, "Okay, although we haven't reached the final destination yet, the current situation, children, everyone already knows the final result, so you don't a Euro trademark T need me to say it anymore, stop." After Lu Feng finished speaking, everyone at the scene dispersed, including Wu Liang and Chen Lian. I don't a Euro trademark T need to say any more about the results of the competition. Today you go back to the military camp and think carefully about what you have clearly seen through these several competitions. Wait until you think it through. At this time, Huang Zhong and Guan Yu appeared beside Lu Feng on horseback. The latter got on Guan Yu's horse, and the three of them left here and returned to the military camp. Wu Liang and Chen Lian looked at each other, and then asked the taller man to go back. A few hours later, the sky had darkened. A large group of people had just returned to the military camp. They were already exhausted and there was no possibility of a conflict. The meal tonight was probably the most delicious they had had in a long time. This was once. Wu Liang and Chen Lian inadvertently saw each other while eating. In fact, after these several games, both of them knew the advantages and disadvantages of size, and if both sides could cooperate well, they can completely complement each other and make the whole team stronger. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 837. Driven by self-esteem and not wanting to look down on each other, the two teams were unable to cooperate well. When they thought that they would face a real enemy in the coming days, and that the enemy would not be as merciful as they were today, the two of them became a little worried and frightened. Wait until you calm down and review everything that happened today. In fact, the final outcome should have been determined from the moment the trap was arranged. Wu Liang understood very well that if the trap was made better and given more time, he would definitely lose. For Chen Lian, he also understood that physical fitness was indeed very important. Take today as a good example. If the trap is not prepared as well as it was yesterday, you will be the last person to die. If the two of them were impulsive in the past few days, today is much better. Both parties have calmed down and are not so impulsive. After finishing the meal, Wu Liang and Chen Lian both gave each other a look. They were not the kind that caused trouble, but they both left the crowd and had a good talk face to face. Late at night, no man's land. Wu Liang and Chen Lian looked at each other. I think you should also know the result of today's game very well, so I have thought about it a lot before. If we have to go to the battlefield in the future, I am afraid we must really cooperate well. When Chen Lian said this sentence, he did not forget to add a sentence at the end. Don't think that I'm begging you. I'm just telling you the objective facts. I don't expect you to understand what I mean. As for whether you choose to cooperate with us, that's your business. If you don't want to, I won't. I will beg you. Even if you have reached this point, you will still be stubborn and unwilling to lower your posture. That's just right. Since we have to fight in the future, let's cooperate on the battlefield. However, this does not mean that we have reconciled. It is just to survive on the battlefield. After saying that, Wu Liang turned and left. Chen Lian did not expect that Wu Liang would have such an attitude. He originally thought it would be more difficult, but the result was much smoother than expected. In any case, in this matter, the two sides finally reached an agreement. After returning to the military camp, both sides went to bed. The next day, when everyone gathered at the training ground, Lu Feng came a little late, but after he came, he discovered a very harmonious scene. In the past, both parties were normal, but this time they were very cooperative in training. When Huang Zhong saw Lu Feng coming, he came to him and said, "Your Majesty, when I came here tonight, I found that they were not making any noise. Actually participated in the training independently and even cooperated." Lu Feng responded happily, "Isn't this good?" "It's good, but if these people suddenly change their attitude, will there be any problems?" "No, you don't a Euro trademark T have to worry about that. After what happened before, they finally figured it out, which is a good thing. You and Guan Yu just train them well, I'm going to rest." After that, Lu Feng disappeared from the training ground. Such good intentions in the past few days can now bear fruit. Lu Feng can be regarded as successful and famous, and he should take a good rest. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 838. In the following days, both Wu Liang and Chen Lian made people worry a lot. There have never been any conflicts between the two parties, and the current cooperation situation is better than usual. Time passed, and after about a month, Lu Feng decided to take a look at the results of his training during this period. Maybe they have thought it through very clearly, so the two teams represented by Wu Liang and Chen Lian are now able to cooperate very well, and have shown a level of cooperation beyond imagination in several simulated battles. Judging from Lu Feng's level, even if they go to the battlefield now, there will be absolutely no problem. Especially Wu Liang and Cheng Lian, the relationship between these two people is very good now. They were obviously at odds before, but now they can cooperate well and use their respective advantages to achieve a balance that is more than 1 plus 1 than 2. Effect. Lu Feng asked the two men to step forward and ask do it. No one understood what Lu Feng meant. They just stood there stupidly and looked at Lu Feng with doubtful eyes. General, what are you doing? Wu Liang asked. Lu Feng continued, I told you two to fight each other, didn't you guys often fight before? I will let you two have a good fight now, and I will never intervene midway. I will bear any consequences. This actually made the people present feel a bit shocked. It's so good, why do you have to do it? Wu Liang and Cheng Lian were both a little embarrassed. Cheng Lian said, General, stop joking. We did have conflicts before, but after all, we are comrades in arms, so how could we do something to our comrades? Then I see that you didn't Euro trademark T clearly accept each other before? Why is everything so harmonious now? General, we were ignorant before, so don't argue with me. We know we were wrong. You can punish us however you want, but there is no need for us to do anything to our own people. This sentence was said by Wu Liang. After hearing these two people say this, Lu Feng nodded with satisfaction. Now I finally know that a Euro trademark is great. However, punishment cannot be avoided. Everyone listens to the order. Now gather the troops and set off to the border. We are going to the battlefield. When these words came out, the group of people in front of them still felt a little bit in their hearts. From now on, they will really go to the battlefield. In every subsequent battle, lives may be lost. This is not a joke. Just for fun. Everyone began to be brave for themselves. This was the first time in their lives to fight, and it might also be the last time. Now that Lu Feng had given the order, everyone began to gather and count the number of people. After confirming that everything was correct, he entered the forced march mode and walked towards the border. However, Lu Feng did not get up with the large army. Instead, he said to Huang Zhong and Guan Yu, I will leave the army to you two. I have something special to do. You go first, go, I will meet you then. Your Majesty, won't you be with us? Guan Yu asked. I'm going to take care of things first. This matter must be done by me personally. Guan Yu and Huang Zhong nodded and left with the large army. Lu Feng waited until everyone had left before setting off. This time the destination was Mongolia. What Lu Feng was looking for was gold. Will of Dharma King. 3 Kingdoms, I have a job transfer palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 839. If you want to repel the Jin people, it is not that easy if there is only one party. The best way is to find allies. It is said that the enemy of the enemy is a friend. To implement this truth, Lu Feng decided to actively seek cooperation with people from Mongolia. As the military advisor of Mongolia, Jinlun Dharma King a Euro trademark S words have a great effect, and he can also make the Mongolian king listen to him. Therefore, if you want to cooperate with Mongolia, Jinlun Dharma King is the best choice. The Mongols hate the Jin people extremely, so if they ask them for help, there is a high probability that they will succeed. After a few days, Lu Feng finally arrived at the border of Mongolia. As soon as he arrived, Lu Feng escaped the sight of many guards and broke into the other country's country directly. Jinlun Dharma King is a military advisor and also a national advisor. He must be located near the palace of Mongolia. According to this principle, Lu Feng quickly found Jinlun Dharma King. At night, Lu Feng quietly sneaked into Jinlun Dharma King's yurt. Jinlun Dharma King himself is also a strong man, so even when he is sleeping, he can react quickly to any changes in his tent grounds. Who is it? Come out. Jinlun Dharma King roared, and Lu Feng appeared in front of him, not afraid at all. Looking at the man in front of him, Jinlun Dharma King was a little surprised. He looked ordinary from the outside, but he didn't expect to be so powerful and able to overcome so many obstacles. The guards came to where they lived. "Say, who sent you?" Lu Feng's appearance showed that he was not a Mongolian, so Jinlun Dharma King naturally thought that the other party was an assassin and was going to assassinate him. After all, Jinlun Dharma King has a noble status, and it is normal for someone to assassinate him. So, while he was talking, he took out his own weapon, the golden wheel, from nowhere, and placed it directly on Lu Feng's nose and neck. It only made him a little surprised. A normal person would have been threatened with his life like this. He had become very scared, but Lu Feng's eyes did not reveal the slightest timidity. Instead, he remained calm. This is a strong man. Only a strong man can have such calmness. The famous Jinlun Dharma King, don't a Euro trademark to be so panicked. I have no ill intentions towards you. I came here because I actually want to cooperate with you. Cooperate. Jinlun Dharma King put down the weapon in his hand, not because he believed the man in front of him, but because he knew that the other man was a strong man, and it was useless to threaten him like this. My name is Lu Feng, others usually call me General Ping Chuan. Are you General Ping Chuan of the Han people? Jinlun Dharma King was a little surprised. He never expected that the other party would come so blatantly. He was already very alert, but now he became even more nervous. What did you want to do here? What do you mean by cooperation? My army is preparing to deal with the Jin people. I wonder if you Mongolia are interested in joining us? I think if we work together, there will definitely be a very good effect, and we can definitely defeat the Jin man in one go. When Jinlun Dharma King heard this, his eyes instantly lit up. This is actually a good idea. At least for the current Mongolian country, if the Jin people can be dealt with first, there will be one less powerful opponent on the future journey. But he is still not sure whether what Lu Feng said is true. After all, this kind of thing is a top priority, and there is absolutely no room for sloppiness. If there is a mistake midway, it is very likely that the entire Mongolian army will be destroyed. Overturned. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 840. Are you telling the truth? Jinlun Dharma King was very shocked. He did not expect that such a Han would come to him for cooperation, and even give him such a big credit. You must know that neither the Jin kingdom nor the Mongolian kingdom took the Han people seriously. In their eyes, the Song dynasty had more martial arts masters than anything to fear. All they wanted was to force the other party to death, but there was never a chance for the other party to perish. All they wanted to do was kill them. A powerful opponent, and then solve the weak Song dynasty in their eyes. If there is such an opportunity now, King Jinlun will never let it go. He also feels that this is Lu Feng seeking skin from a tiger, and he is the big tiger. It's ridiculous. If Lu Feng knew what he was thinking, he would laugh out loud. He doesn't know who is this tiger. Do you think you would have survived if I had just attacked you? Lu Feng did not directly answer Jinlun Dharma King's question, but asked instead. Jinlun Dharma King did not speak, because after all, he is the national teacher of a country, and he felt a little uncomfortable with the self-esteem in his heart when he was asked to admit that he was better than the person in front of him. No, but this is the fact. He can only remain silent and acquiesce to this fact. Now I want you to help me prepare the cavalry. You know that the cavalry of the Song dynasty is very weak and cannot be reused. I can lead other infantry of the Song dynasty as bait in the front, but I must borrow the Mongolian cavalry to raid. If you really agree with me alliance, then give me 5,000 elite cavalry and let me serve as their commander and lead them in battle. Looking at the way he didn't speak, Lu Feng knew that Jinlun Dharma King acquiesced. He then talked about the details of their alliance, and regarding the matter of borrowing troops, Jinlun Dharma King had nothing to say. The two sides' continued cooperation is obviously impossible if Lu Feng is the only one to contribute. Since Jinlun Dharma King chose to cooperate with the Song dynasty, he must send troops. As for the right to command, Jinlun Dharma King actually did not want to give it to Lu Feng, but there are no generals available at hand, and his focus has always been on the rivers and lakes, making it difficult to take action. Guojing is the number one in today's martial arts world, and even Jinlun Dharma King cannot defeat him, but Jinlun Dharma King is more important to the people of the Central Plains. It is said that only Guojing can fight, and others cannot suppress it. It is a pity that Jinlun Dharma King and Guojing restrain each other. No one can leave their respective battlefields for too long, otherwise the whole body will be affected. If he had not considered the overall situation, Jinlun Dharma King would have left with Lu Feng at this moment. He was absolutely unwilling to temporarily give his military power to Lu Feng. I am not the commander of the most elite cavalry unit. If you really want to cooperate, I can discuss it with my Khan. Jinlun Dharma King lowered his head and thought for a moment. The only way he could use it was to separate some of the troops belonging to the Great Khan. These people were loyal to the Great Khan, so they would obey the orders of others. But they must be loyal people. As long as the Khan gives an order, they can immediately return to their camp without worrying about being incited to rebel. Of course, there is no problem if you want to discuss it with other people, but my patience is limited. I will only wait for you here for one night. I will leave tomorrow. By then, I will take people away or leave without people. The decision is yours. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 841. Jinlun Dharma King had no way to refute what Lu Feng said. He could only say that he would give a reply as soon as possible, and then he rode out of the military camp where he was now and quietly went to the location of the big man. The leader of every country is the most important, so the position of the leader has always been regarded as top secret. Of course, only people of the level of Jinlun Dharma King can know the position of the Great Khan. Great Khan, we are very clear about Lu Fenga Euro trademark's purpose. He is seeking cooperation this time. I think it is possible to cooperate. After all, he himself said that the current military strength of the Song dynasty is not enough to compete with the Jin state, and we have the strength to compete with the Jin state. With the ability to fight head-on, they have no other choice but to seek cooperation with us. After Jinlun Dharma King met the Great Khan, he expressed his thoughts. He believed that this cooperation was necessary and could also help Mongolia kill one of its most important opponents. The Great Khan was very shaken by what Jinlun Dharma King said. It is not a matter of a day or two for him to destroy the Jin kingdom. He has never found an opportunity. If he can cooperate with Lu Feng now, it will indeed be a great opportunity. But this Lu Feng is borrowing the power of the cavalry from us. What should we do? If those people are taken away and never come back, isn't that our loss? The Great Khan is very distressed now that the cavalry will suffer losses. It is already recognized by the world how strong the Mongolian cavalry is, but the problem is that it is very difficult to cultivate the cavalry into elite soldiers. If Lu goes to war this time, if Feng didn't bring back any of the people he took away, Mongolia would suffer huge losses. And since Lu Feng was not from Mongolia, it was possible for all the cavalry to die on the battlefield. Please, the Great Khan must think clearly. Although we may lose our manpower, if we cannot seize this opportunity and prioritize the destruction of the Jin kingdom, then unifying the world will be just a dream. The Song dynasty is so weak, even if we only have half of it left, even with their own strength, they can be destroyed easily. Jinlun Dharma King is very confident in destroying the Song dynasty. How weak the Song dynasty is also recognized by the world, so it is no wonder that they are very confident in defeating the Song dynasty. In their eyes, there is only one enemy, and that is the same a more powerful Jin kingdom. What the national preceptor said makes sense, so I will hand over the 5,000 cavalry in my hands to you and let you cooperate with Lu Feng. I hope they can bring us good news by then. The great Khan thought for a while and thought that King Jinlun's words made sense. Instead of worrying about the loss of these 5,000 people, it is better to look to the future. Only when the Jin kingdom is destroyed in the future can Mongolia truly unify the world. What's more, these people, they were all trained by him. They were very loyal to him. He also had the means to contact these people privately. He was not worried that they would be taken away by Lu Feng and never heard from again. It would be great if Han could figure it out. I will take them back to give Lu Feng an answer. Jinlun Dharma King was very happy. It was best if the great Khan could figure it out. He couldn't wait to see his country's cavalry kill the Jin kingdom. After receiving the great Khan's order, he immediately went to kill the most elite. The 5,000 cavalrymen were taken away and returned to the original military camp, and these 5,000 people were handed over to Lu Feng. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 842. After Lu Feng said goodbye to King Jinlun, he looked at the silent 5,000 cavalry behind him. The black armor they wore was the most complete and toughest in the entire Mongolia. Everyone has been trained very well. As long as there is no order, they are just wooden people who remain silent and motionless. However, when the order is given, they move like rabbits. With such a well-trained army, even after seeing 3 dynasties, there will never be another one. If it hadn't been for Lu Feng coming to this world, perhaps no one would have been able to think of a way to deal with these 5,000 cavalry. On the way back to the border with 5,000 cavalry, Lu Feng didn't rest the whole way and kept running at high speed. However, the 5,000 cavalry behind him were able to keep up without even breathing. After the journey, only their horses were panting from exhaustion. The cavalry themselves had excellent physical strength. Even if they didn't eat for 2 days, they didn't complain about hunger. Instead, they kept waiting for Lu Feng to give orders. For Lu Feng, it took him several months to train the existing soldiers to this level of training quality. Ita Euro trademark S. No wonder that the Song dynasty lost every time they fought. Their attitude towards military affairs has already determined their differences. Sir, you are back. When they were less than 3 kilometers away from their camp, Guan Yu and Huang Zhong had already come out with Longwu soldiers to greet them. With their ability, they could hear who was coming from a few kilometers away. And the moment the 2 men appeared, the 5,000 cavalry behind Lu Feng were a little panicked. They still maintained the most orderly formation, but they were also a little panicked for a while. The powerful auras of Guan Yu and Huang Zhong made them deeply understand the situation in front of them. How strong are these 2 people, so they are afraid of the strong and feel scared. These people will be used as raiders in the future. They will be brought to the battlefield in advance and hidden, waiting for my orders at any time. Lu Feng pointed to the 5,000 cavalry behind him and told Huang Zhong and Guan Yu that these 5,000 people would never participate in the frontal battlefield in the future. If necessary, they would follow his orders. Their most important role is to raid, because the 5,000 cavalry are fast, well equipped, and their power cannot be underestimated. Although other cavalry from the Song dynasty have now followed Lu Feng to the battlefield, these cavalry are still insignificant compared to the Mongolian cavalry. 5,000 cavalry on the plains. A frontal sprint was not powerful enough. It would be better to let the Song dynasty's tens of thousands of cavalry charge forward on the plains, which would be more effective. After arranging these cavalry, Lu Feng ordered Huang Zhong to wait until an eagle flew over in the sky. Kill all the flying eagles. Sir, do you want to eat game? Isn't a Euro trademark it enough to just fly an eagle? I am willing to shoot down other birds to make supplements for the young master. Huang Zhong didn't know what he was doing this time, so he naturally replied that he was willing to kill all the game in the world for Lu Feng. These cavalry use the flying eagles in the sky to communicate with their Khan. If the flying eagles are dead, I would like to see how they can still contact them. Lu Feng shook his head. The purpose of doing this was to cut off the communication between these cavalrymen and the Great Khan, so that they could not exchange information with each other. As for eating game, it was just a way of doing it.